Okay. I had to go back to my old method. I don't know what's going on, why I cannot use this new technology I'm trying to use. It's just not working. But at least I got a green screen, and I hope people find their way over here since I messed up so bad. Trying, I should have been, I should have tested. Okay, you hear me now? All right, good. Yes, my moderators are here. I was worried. Okay, thank you. I'm glad this is working out better. Okay. So, welcome to the Wednesday topic show. On Tuesdays, we're going to be doing advice questions on the Mod Squad. Tiffin, your favorites in the house. Um, Tonight, we're going to pick up with what we talked about, I don't know, a week or so ago. I'm losing track of time. When we got started talking about this trans movement and the impact that it's having on women's rights. So, what is happening is by them pushing these few thousand people now, pushing for their rights that are overriding the rights of millions of women. And I'm still trying to figure out how that happened. It's like, they snuck in the back door and did that shit when nobody was looking. Um, so the reason why I got this, okay, it's already kind of on my mind, but what even made me want to do the show even more was that I was reading this article. Where is it? Oh, on a Gender Trender. They ran my video, so I've been getting a lot of traffic from there over here. So, I went over, took a look at the site, and saw what was up. Pakistan internet is always happening. So they had this article. It's like, let's see, can you see it? Lesbians attacked by trans activists in San Francisco at the Dyke March. And that's not necessarily something that I would go to or anything, but I feel like they had a right. I mean, they have gay, men marching in pride, and especially in San Francisco, honey, they just be walking up and down the street half naked and stuff, and sometimes all the way naked with some body paint on and all kind of stuff. So if the women want to get together and march and celebrate their dykeness, that's fine with me. I don't have no problem with that. Now, it says here the San Francisco Dyke March evolved what I more or less anticipated. A group of 12 of us lesbians showed up, 4 of us with signs. Okay, so that's not a very big turnout. That's unfortunate. It wasn't long at all before the trend. This is from testimonies from people who actually appeared at this. Okay. It wasn't long at all before the trans cult became very aggressive, chanting, "Transphobes gotta go," and "TERFs go home," as they repeatedly grabbed and tore away, eventually ripping into pieces my sign, which read on one side, "You can't silence us with violence, resist lesbian erasure," and on the other side, reading, "Biology is not bigotry." I ran after people and pulled my sign back a few times, then was knocked to the ground. Okay, now keep in mind, these are grown ass men. Just because they have on a dress or a wig or some makeup or something, these are men attacking women. This is essentially what we have here. She knocked these women to the ground on 3 separate occasions. This one says, "My fiance blank," they blanked it out, "was also knocked to the ground once as well, as she was also carrying a 2-sided sign saying, 'Change our society, not your body,' and dangers of puberty blockers," with a list of the dangers on the other side. Okay, so see, they're making some statements that are based in reality, grounded in science. That's one of the things I'm going to be talking about next. The next time we get together and talk about this, maybe next week, if I can get my act together. I'm going to be talking about these puberty blockers and what I think the real agenda is with all of this stuff. So then, a 40 to 50 TRAs surrounded us while being questioned by the police. And it just went on and on about them attacking the women that got harassed and bullied because of the signs. But they all kept marching, and it was pretty horrible. They said they had a hard time getting the police to protect them. And I grew up in San Francisco. Okay. I grew up in San Francisco. And I, saw the tail end of the hippie era, the Black Panther era. I mean, the city was a wash and change. Redevelopment came into San Francisco. They was trying to read it. So there was a lot of change. There was a lot of activism, on the behalf of Black people, poor people, other marginalized communities. Then the gays came in, they got in on it. I mean, I saw this with my own eyes. This is something I grew up witnessing. So to see San Francisco change from that kind of embracing a multitude of cultures and types of people. I mean, I think about the hippies. You know what I mean? Those were some of the weirdest freaks you ever want to see. But they were even tolerated. They were like a tourist attraction. Nobody paid them no mind. They, skipping with flowers in their hair, skipping up and down the street like little fairies and shit. I mean, it was just something, nobody was really tripping on them. But now we have a group of people in San Francisco that I don't know who the fuck these people are. I need to go back to Minnesota, wherever the fuck they came from, because their attitude is all kinds of fucked up. And it's not at all California, Bay Area, or San Francisco. They are intolerant, Republican rednecks. That's what they are. So they come in and they don't want to have, they want to silence everybody, especially anybody who thinks differently than they do. And these people that they're primarily targeting are women, okay? Women who do not agree with their trans ideology. So this, these women here, I wish I had known about this though, because that's the kind of thing, honey. Let me go to a dyke march and put somebody, motherfucker, put his hands on me and watch how many niggas I drop to the ground. White boys, whatever the fuck they are. Because see, I don't go nowhere without something. Okay. So somebody going to the ground, and it's not gonna be me. I'm telling you that. So this is really unfortunate that there weren't more of them. You guys got to do a better job of publicizing your stuff, and you got to make it more inclusive so that women who are not dykes will still want to come out and support you. So y'all need to consult me before you do this shit again, because this, you only have 12 people. That was not 15, whatever your group size was, that had to deal with these amount of knuckleheads. That's not enough. You need to have thousands of women out there. And then when they get to acting a fool, everybody commits to beating some little trans ass. That's what you need to do. Because once they put their hands on you, see, that's assault. And once somebody assaults you, you have every right to defend yourself under any law in this country. And so if you jump up and beat their ass down to the ground and stomp them and kick them and bust their faces up, then there won't be shit they can say, because they should have kept their hands to themselves. You don't touch nobody's property, and you don't touch nobody's body. See, that's two violations, you know. Okay. So what is it that these guys are doing? Basically, they are, when you look at their messages, they're advocating violence against women. That's what they're doing. This whole trans movement with this male to female bullshit is male violence against women. It's abuse. That's what it is. It's emotional, psychological, mental, and now physical abuse. And they want to, frame it as, well, we're fighting for our rights. No, motherfucker, you white boys, you already got all the rights in the world. What you want to have is just, you want to have your rights as a white male, your rights as a male, and you want to have women's rights too, because what you have is not enough. That's what that is. Greedy fucks just want everything. And I read this article here, right? This shit pissed me off. Where is this thing? This dude wrote this diatribe. Oh, here it is. I read this shit. I'm like, oh no, I definitely got to talk about this on the show. When you say I would never date a trans person, it's transphobic. So then he went on and on, whining for days, talking about why it's transphobic. So I want to share some of this with you, because I had never read such drivel in my life. Okay. It's a dude, he goes by the name of Sarah. And he says there's been a lot of discussion lately about transgender people, specifically about whether you are transphobic or not, if you have a preference, and he puts preference in quotes, against dating trans people. And, he says that people feel like it's okay if a trans person want to be out and live their life as a woman, a man, a non-binary person, whatever. But ultimately, they say they're just not attracted to any transgender person. Before we talk about how that sentiment alone is transphobic, okay, see, this is essentially what's going on here. I wouldn't give a fuck if I was transphobic. I'm not trying to date no man that got a pussy. Okay, that's just not happening. Because if I'm doing that, that means I'm lesbian, and I'm not lesbian. Okay, and you guys, you walking around talking about you a woman, motherfucker. You have a dick and balls. Okay, look in a fucking mirror. You got you beard growth and shit. You got hair everywhere that men have it. You're a guy. All right. So any straight guy who wants to have be in the bed with a soft, curvy, estrogen filled, able to birth a child, menstruating woman is not going to want your hard, muscly ass. Just get over it. I mean, really? Why is this so hard to understand? Yeah, they hate women and they don't really want to be one. And I'll explain to you why, what their confused mental state in a little bit. Okay, so then he goes, I mean, I'm reading this right, and I'm on the bus because I'm, on public transportation because I didn't want to drive my car and all that traffic because I was going downtown and parking is like $50 is a second. So I'm like, I just took BART. So I'm reading. And so he says that sentiment alone is transphobic. So he's writing from the perspective of a trans woman, which of course he imagines that he is, but he's not. He's a man. So, dating as a trans woman often means an exhausting stream of inappropriate, fetishizing, dehumanizing, and sometimes violent message. Guess what? They're coming from other men. So, really, that's like, who gives a fuck? Deal with it. That's what men do to women, okay? You want to claim you won? This is this comes with the territory. Just understand this is the bullshit we have to deal with from fucking birth. You just decided to start dealing with it because you wanted some perceived benefits that you think being a woman is going to bring you. This is all part and parcel of being a woman. Okay. You got to put up with men's shit. So here he says, this gets even more complicated when trans women are trying to date straight cisgender men. Okay. Why would you try to date a man who wants women? What's wrong with you? You putting yourself in a position to be rejected. And then you want to get all of your feelings about being rejected and call people names like transphobic. He doesn't want you because you have a dick. I mean, how hard is this to understand? The man's not gay. Okay, he don't want your ass. He don't want to fuck somebody up in the ass. He wants to fuck somebody's in the vagina. You don't have one. It's like, oh my God, is this really that hard to understand? It's just like, is this really that difficult for these people to understand in their delirium? Okay, so then okay, then he starts whining about some crime or whatever. And I was like, oh, shut up. It was just in the 70s, it was still legal for men to beat their wives. So, I'm not really trying to be too worried about what you do because your ass was a man and you could go back to that anytime you want to because you still got your dick. So he says, it's pretty terrifying to navigate a dating pool where you're both disqualified from people's dating preferences when you disclose your trans status up front, but then also threatened with violence when you choose not to share the details of your genitals before the other person can accidentally fall in love with you. Okay, so then he says in his context, it makes sense for them to wait, because you're going to be excluded up front. But see, then that's coercion and that's fraud. So then when somebody beats your ass because you tricked them and lied to them and manipulated them, then you don't have a right to say nothing because you committed a fraud. Okay, you try to trick somebody, and then when they decide, find out that your ass is not what you presented yourself to be, and you've been lying to them this whole time, how do you think they're gonna feel? They're going to react with anger and violence because that's what men do. Men are violent little fucks. So you want to just put on a dress and stuff. You forgot about that testosterone, honey. That shit is going to still come out and they're going to still be mad and they're going to still be dominant and controlling just like men are. Okay, that doesn't change because you put on a dress. So then he says, transphobic people will assert practically anything to get away from the much simpler truth. What trans people have been saying for decades, that trans women are simply women who were mistakenly assigned male at birth. No, you weren't assigned anything. You came out with a dick, you came out with balls, and you came out with an XY chromosome lineup, and all three of those things kind of made the perfect storm, and you are male. Now, what you don't want to admit now, see, but this is my thing here. I think these guys, especially when you look at these white ones, these are failed males. They're failed. They feel like they could not compete. There was something about them that made them feel weak and they were too insecure. They didn't know how to really man the fuck up. They kept failing and, it was too much of a stress for them. So they did the only thing that's left, which is to try to be a woman, because it's only them two things, right? You're either a man or you're a woman, or you're dead, which we still make you a dead man or a dead woman, but you still was a man or a woman. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the fuck? This, so he's like, by mistakenly assigned. See, that is like, okay, that's the first thing when people go get the ultrasound. Okay. The first thing they want to know, is it a boy or a girl? Okay. That's because people who birth children, women, understand that there's only two genders, and depending upon the equipment that the child has, it's going to be one or the other. Okay. So say that you were mistakenly assigned that. That only works with if you're an intersex person and you're born with both genitals. You are not. That's not the case with you. You have everything to be a man, but you just don't want it. You don't like it no more, or whatever. But you notice how few of them actually get it cut off. See, that's very telling to me. They still want to keep. They want to be the best of best of both worlds. So then let me flip through this, because he's just a whole bunch of whining that's irrelevant. Uh Yeah. Okay, here we go. If you're someone who says, I would never date a trans person, I'm talking directly to you right now. It's okay, other people, you can stay and listen too, he says. Here's the deal. It's not transphobia to decide that you don't want to date a specific trans person based on your preferences and personality, hobbies, social beliefs, body type, etc. Consent is really cool, and believe me, no one wants to date or fuck you if you don't want to date or fuck them. Trans people are not trying to force you to date us. Yes, you are. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep talking about it's transphobic. See, this is the thing, because I wrote a response to this. I'm gonna read you I'm gonna interject my response to this. Because I wrote a comment and I copied it, because I never knew he was gonna come along and delete what I had to say. So this is what I said in response. I'm like, okay, why do you insist on jamming your body and your choices down other people's throats, literally and figuratively? Everyone has the right to their choice and to refuse to deal with whoever they fucking please. Let me share my list of who I will not date or have a relationship with. No broke men. Am I broke phobic? No short men. If you shorter than me, we have a problem, because my ass is not that tall. No druggies, no drunks, no baby daddies, no unemployed bums, no sexist pigs, no stupid men, no trans men, no men with an accent. I done told y'all I don't like that shit. No accents. I'm not dating no woman. No religious nutcases. You thump a Bible, I'm out. Deuces. No illegal aliens. You ain't getting a green card on my ass. No smokers. No, no, no. No holics or addicts of any kind. No men with outside a 12-year age range. I mean, 12 years younger, 12 years older, but usually I go younger because older men are kind of like, ugh. All right. And no meat eaters, since I'm a vegan. Okay, so that's just a partial list of men that I don't want to be bothered with, right? So you see, everyone has a preference. Everyone knows what will work with them for their life, their values, their morals, their sexuality. No way in this world a man who is straight should be guilt tripped into being with a chick with a dick if he doesn't want to. This push you all try to force men into accepting you is nothing but white male entitlement coming to the fore. You truly believe that you are entitled to anybody and anything you want, and no one else is supposed to deny you, or you get all in your feelings and write long ass diatribes trying to convince people to give you what you want. You display the same attitude towards straight people that mass shooters of women do, rejects like Elliot Rodgers and George Sodani. Same thing, really. You just wearing a dress and a makeup, but your attitude of entitlement to other people's bodies is exactly the same. Get in where you fit in, dude, and stop this. You will never have everyone agree with you. It's not gonna happen, not in this lifetime or the next. There are people who will see you as nothing more than a confused man who failed at manhood and are trying the only other option. And for that, you will be rejected. Get over it. Put your big boy pants on and make the magic happen. It's called adulting. That was my comment back to dude. Because, I couldn't type fast enough. I type almost 100 words a minute. I mean, not right now because, I got that injury to my thumb. But I was like, getting that out because, I just was like, this is stupid. So let me finish this stupidity because you need to hear this. Consent is really cool and they're not trying to force you to date us. Yeah, right. It is, however, deeply transphobic to decide that you never want to date any trans person gender ever, and the choice to draw such a line is rooted in ignorance, fear, and disgust of trans people. Damn Skippy. Because it's disgusting to see a man trying to be a woman. Who would be turned on by that shit? You know what I mean? It's like an elephant trying to dress and pretend it's a giraffe. No, motherfucker, that's not you. That's not you. You not making, no, that's not your reality, and it's nobody else's either. And people have every right to do it, and you calling it deeply transphobic. So see, on one hand, he says, nobody's trying to force you, but then he turns around and tries to guilt trip you by calling you a name, and deeply transphobic on top of that. So, people will be like, well, I don't want to be transphobic. You know what? Wear that shit. Be proud of it. There's nothing wrong with being transphobic. Okay, there's nothing wrong. They try to levy it at you like it's some kind of like depth charge or something, like you're gonna blow up or split to pieces and never be successful in life if you're transphobic. Guess what? 100 motherfuckers could line up and call you transphobic, and guess what? After they all do it, you're gonna still be the same person you were before they said a word to you. Being transphobic does not change anything. Don't hurt you in no way at all. So you be that. Wear that shit proudly. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. This is bullshit. It's like telling me I'm short. Okay, I am. So what I'm gonna say? And it's like, if I don't want to be bothered with somebody whose mind's all fucked up and they think that they a man, and they think they're trying to convince me like the emperor's new clothes that they got on some fabulous outfits, and which is the same intelligence you have about you being a woman, you tripping. You tripping, you got a mental illness, you need to see a shrink and stop trying to convince the rest of the world that your insanity is reality. Because it's not. And everybody with any clear mind is going to tell you that. You don't want to hear it, but that don't change the reality. Your ass is a man. Okay? You was born one, you're gonna die one. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Okay, so then he keeps on going on. The transgender community is a massively diverse group with all kinds of body types, genital configurations, personalities, hobbies, and relationship styles. Okay, so to categorically exclude all people from that group who would otherwise align with your sexuality, trans men for a straight woman, trans women for a lesbian woman, etc., is not only missing out on many potential connections you could have, but you could otherwise have a wonderful time dating, and it reinforces the oppressive social system that says that transgender women aren't really women because they were assigned male at birth, blah, 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 blah. Okay, now what this is the patriarchal mindset of a fucked up male. Because see, this is the same thing. Now, when they will say the same shit, now if you replace the words here trans with like the MGTOW guys or the TFL guys, right? The complaints are exactly the same. It's just framed differently because they want access to your body just like the other dudes, but they're doing it with a dress on. Okay, and they want to have they want you to give them the same choices, to give up your desires for your choices for what you want in your life, in your bed, because of what they want. It's the same fucking thing. And it's like, nobody can tell me different. It's the same mentality. They just, it's like I said, just framed differently. Okay, when you're on the dance floor, on Tinder, or flirting with someone at work function, you can't tell if someone is trans just by looking at them. So what? I don't need to tell. I know I'm not having a relationship with one because it's not what I want. Okay, just like that long list I read you. I don't want no broke men, no druggies, no short men, no holics of any kind, no baby daddies. Okay, I mean, it's the same thing. I have a list of standards that a person in my life, in my bed, that's going to be going up in my body must meet. And somebody who is a converted kit man to woman thing doesn't meet them. Same thing in the verse. Okay, you will start off as a woman and now you a dude. No, you don't meet my state. You're not what I want. Okay, I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand. Get in where you fit in. That's life. Okay, that's about jobs, schools, relationships, neighborhoods, everything. Get in where you fit in. And if you don't fit in somebody's life, and they have every right to tell your ass that, and you don't have any right to tell them that they must do it anyway. See, that's that man shit coming out. Women don't do that. That's males. Okay, so then he says, are you afraid of genitals you're not familiar with? Some trans women have a penis and some don't. No, motherfuckers, if you got a dick, you're a dude. You ain't there's no such thing as a trans woman. There's women and there's men who want to be women by pretending that they're women, but they're not really women. Okay, those are the two kinds that there are. real women and fake women, and you a fake woman. Okay, so don't even try. You know, you once you got a dick, you're not a woman. I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand. Are you afraid of being seen in public with a trans person? No. I'm not going to date one, though. Are you afraid of people challenging your identity as a straight person, a lesbian, or a gay man? Look at this face? Do I give any fucks at all about what some other body person thinks? Now, anybody who knows me knows that. I give no fucks about it. I do what the fuck I want to do. Are you afraid of believing yourself to no longer be a lesbian or gay man? Okay, and then that's what we're going to talk about, too. I'm going to stop there. Um, and continue this. I got some more to say on that little issue there. But okay, let's talk about this lesbian part. Okay. Where's my notes? God, why don't I ever be organized? That would be so nice. I need a secretary. If I had a secretary, it would be so lovely. Okay, let's talk about sexual orientation. Okay, because that's what they're doing. They're trying to tell you, okay, they have a sexual orientation, but they want to tell you that you don't have the right to have one, right? You're supposed to be what they want you to be because it's what they want. Okay, now sexual orientation. This says sexual orientation is about who you're attracted to and want to have relationships with. Sexual orientations include gay, lesbian, straight, bisexual, and asexual. Okay, asexual, for those who may not know, means that you don't want to have sex with nobody, not even yourself. You just have no interest in it. You're like an amoeba. Okay, then it says sexual orientation is different from gender and gender identity. No, who would have ever thought? Sexual orientation is about who you're attracted to and who you feel drawn to romantically, emotionally, and sexually. It is different than gender identity. Gender identity isn't about who you're attracted to, but about who you are male, female, gender queer, blah, 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 this long ass list of confused names. Um, this means that being transgender, feeling like is in the wrong body or whatever, isn't the same thing as being gay, lesbian, or bisexual. Sexual orientation is about who you want to be with. Gender identity is about who you are. Okay, now on that note, this is some scientific university thing I was reading about it. On that note, how can a man put on a dress, still have his dick, and claim that he is a lesbian and be angry at lesbians because the lesbians don't want to fuck with him because he's got a dick? In what universe does that make a lick of sense? It's like women are lesbians because they like women. Okay, that means they like, I don't know. I haven't really ever talked to one about it, to tell you the truth, but I'm guessing that they like women because, they like women lady parts. They like soft skin and, you know, uh, breasts. So this guy called them breasts. And, they prefer female organs than male ones. Okay. So if you have male organs and you don't have breasts that are real, and you don't have the things that make a woman, biologically and physically, you don't have those things. Please explain to me how the fuck you came to the conclusion that your ass is a lesbian and that lesbians owe your fucking ass a relationship. Now, see what? Remember when I was talking about autogynephilia in the last show on this topic? We was talking about autogynephilia. That is a affliction, a fetish, or whatever you want to call it, where men get physically excited about the thought of themselves being okay, can somebody get rid of Adan Williams? Block that fool. You're not here to talk about who's not no good. Get rid of that idiot. Um, what you can't be a lesbian. You can't be, my dear men folk. You can't be. Well, then shut up, Adan Williams. You did mean hard because, this is what we're talking about here. This is the topic. Okay. You don't have nothing sensible to say, then shut your fast ass up and get the fuck out of here. But if you're going to participate in this conversation, then respect the host and respect the topic and respect the guest. Don't you ever come in here calling anybody a name. You don't hear me doing that. I say they crazy, but I'm not calling nobody, no good and all that kind of stuff. I don't know who the fuck these people are. They might be wonderful people, but they're mentally ill. Okay. Illness and evilness are two completely different things. And so you saying that they're no good. See, you're assigning them with, negative personality traits and intent to harm and all this kind of stuff. See, and that's false information. And that's why I don't want you saying that. So understand where I'm coming from with that. Now let's talk about this thing, because they say, well, gender's binary and, it's fluid and you can't, it's a social construct and, it's all made up, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So then you say you don't want to be, that you can then decide that you can switch because all these rules don't apply. Okay. But the fact that you say that you can switch and that you want people to call you a woman, yet you say that these things don't exist. See how you're talking out of both sides of your neck and you sound confused and crazy because either there is women and there are men or they're not. But you say they're not, but you want to become one. How can you become something that doesn't exist? That little play on words. See, they don't be understanding. This sister up here got 150 IQ. I can think up some shit. Okay, I may talk ignorant and be from the hood and all that kind of stuff, but I have a good mind and it works and it analyzes stuff very well. And these whole puzzle pieces here don't fit. On one hand, and just think about this. What? I'm a better woman than you. There's no such thing. I am a trans woman. Okay. And then you turn around and say, everything's fluid and this and that, blah, blah. But one of the things that pisses you off the most is that you want to be recognized as a woman, as a female, as a girl, as a lady, all these kind of things. So which fucking one is it? If there isn't one, then you don't need to go through all these changes and try to be us and barge into our bathrooms and all this kind of stuff. You're trying to prove that you're something that you're not. You're trying to prove that you're a woman like us. So you don't sit up there talking about, well, there's no such thing and, binary, all this intersection, whatever bullshit y'all be talking. Shows that you lying and you delirious. You just using words. You don't even know what the fuck you saying. Just using a whole bunch of words and just hoping that people get dizzy with the volume of ignorance that you're talking. Doesn't make any sense, really. Okay, how you gonna be trying to be something that you claim doesn't exist and be mad when people don't recognize you as that and don't let you into that thing's restroom and that thing's locker room and that thing's dressing room? And you want to put on clothes like that thing. All the stuff that you claim does not exist. Okay. Yeah, really. I see I'll be making notes while my mind is in mode, because you go to the point where you start thinking about it. One of the phrases that they say is, I'm going to transition. Okay. That means that you recognize that there's two sexes, two genders, male and female, man and woman. Okay. You recognize that, but by the same token, you want to deny that its existence but you want to transition to become that. I mean, y'all need to make up your mind, one or the other. I think the real problem is, they know that there's expectations of them as a man and they don't meet them. So that's why I say they're failed men. They don't meet them. They know they never will meet them. And so they just gave up. Now, some guys give up and become MGTOWs, right? At least they admit that they're still men. But the ones who go so deep in it that they start really hating themselves and their life and their, the struggle of being a man, they give up and they want to decide that they're a woman. So what is this, this whole thing about them being lesbian? What does that mean? I got distracted. I was talking about the autogyne feeling and I got distracted. To me, it's like this. Okay. Every man's fantasy, well, not every, okay, let's say 90% of men have a fantasy of watching or being in a situation with a threesome or whatever with two women, right? They want to see multiple women, grooving on each other, whatever. That just turns them out like nobody's business. Okay, well, after you watch so many movies and talk about that, that probably would get a little boring. But the thought still excites them, right? But what better excitement would they be to put themselves into the movie, to become one of the women that's in the movie with the other woman? You see how that works? So in essence, everything about this is still about their dick. It's always about their dick. Nothing else is about their dick. And that's why they get so angry, because they want to live out this fantasy. And by you being a lesbian woman and telling them, no, I don't want shit to do with you, dick haver, get out of my face. They just get enraged because they realize that their fantasy that they have is never going to come true, of them being a woman with a woman. See? I mean, think about that. I might not be expressing it that well, but I'm sure you guys understand what I'm talking about. Yes, and that cis shit, fuck all that too. I have to think of a new what that's supposed to mean, because we're gonna denounce that. We're not gonna use that. And I also thought of a new, now when somebody say that you a turf, they like to say you're a turf. What's that turf means? Trans exclusionary radical feminist. That's what, when they say it, which again, I don't understand what the problem is and why they think that that's a slur. It's like, okay, you're right. I exclude trans turfs, trans whatevers from my world because I don't fucking feel like looking at it. That's my business. It's like I don't like corned beef hash either. I don't like that shit, and I don't like rhubarb. It's a whole bunch of stuff I don't want to look at. I don't want to look at people's guts spilled out on the street. That's why I never went into medicine. It's a whole bunch of stuff I know I don't want to look at. I don't want to be around. And that's my right. I don't want to be in a room full of smoke either. Like people, smoking cigarettes and all that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to be in an environment like that. And I don't want to be around a bunch of men swishing and, switching and waving their hands and talking in a girly voice. I don't feel like all that. That's just not what I'm about. So now this is Deb's acronym. TERF is reborn as of this minute. Okay. TERF. Totally enviable, real female. Because that's what it is, okay? Totally enviable, real female. And I like that. That's my new, that one. So somebody call me a turf if you want to. This is what it's going to mean from now on, okay? I like that. We got to take that. We got to turn that shit around. So, they're going to say, you turf, thank you, motherfucker. That's beautiful. That's so complimentary. Thank you very much. They be calling somebody some totally enviable. Thank you. Thank you for typing it out. Totally enviable, real woman. Okay, real. I had to put something in there to fuck them up. I can't just say the words. I put some shit in there that's going to rub it in your face. No matter what you do, motherfucker, you ain't going to never be me. Ever. You can get $100,000 worth of surgery and take every pill on this planet. Your ass is still going to be a man. Be mad if you want to. Yes, I'm telling you, spread the word. Make it a hashtag on Twitter. And we got to turn, flip that shit, because they're trying to make it seem like it's a slur. And I'm turning that shit into a positive. And you just heard the reveal, okay? Because I've been sitting on this for a week because I didn't want to tell you. All right. So, I'm like, these motherfuckers. I'm telling you, okay? So, the lesbians, I really kind of feel sorry for them at this point, because they get a double whammy. Especially, man, if you're a black lesbian, you have shit creek with no paddle. Because, you're women, okay? You're women. Men already don't like you because they feel, just straight men, because they feel like you get more pussy than they are, and they get jealous. And, they know that you don't really need them. And in most men's way of feeling like masculine and feeling manly and feeling like they're about something, men cannot have manhood and masculinity without bouncing their whatever off of a woman. Have you ever really thought about that? I've talked about this numerous times. Men cannot feel like men unless there's a woman around. They define who they are as men by what you're not by what they are, by what you're not. That's the trick. So if you're a woman and you don't need anything from a man, you're not looking for him for nothing, you don't find him attractive, you don't find him interesting, whatever he says, you roll your eyes, you don't want nothing to do with his ass. Well, see, that's a major ego blow to them. They don't know what to do with that. So any woman who has that attitude, really, whether she's lesbian or not, but they already know what's going to be the attitude if you're lesbian, and then they meet some straight women who have the same attitude. They like men too, but they're not really trying to be bothered with them too much. They can't stand it. They cannot stand it. They say that you're a ball buster, you emasculate men, you hate men, man. We get hit with that all the time. Sisters hit that shit all the time. And it's like, and I keep trying to get women to understand this. That's why they need that ego boosting stuff they always be talking about, right? I need you to build me up. You got to like support your man. You have to boost me up. You have to lift me up. You have to have my back. You have to tell me I'm smart. You have to tell me. They're constantly looking for this ego boost and stuff because they're fucking weak. Ugh, I can't stand it. And it's like, you got a guy who is in an environment with women who will never do that because they like women. He doesn't know what to do with himself. He feels like nothing. He gets angry. And that's what you have with these trans people, these dudes in dresses. In spite of the fact that they decided that they want to be women, they decide they want to be lesbian rather. It's still the same feeling because, keep in mind, they've been their men all this time, right? So they've been experiencing rejection from females as a male. Now they're trying to say that they're female. They're still getting rejected by females because the lesbians don't want them either. Imagine his dismay, the kick and the stomp to his ego. That's what you're dealing with these dudes who say that, they want to go to like Dyke March and assault the lesbians. They are livid at you for rejecting them. They're angry at you for they can't be what you are. You're living their fantasy and they can't do it. It's like right here, they can't handle it. They can't get it. You denying them the rage. That's what they have. So, I've been thinking about this, of course, for, weeks before I did the first show, putting all this to now I'm not afraid they're going to take my video down. Why? Why would I do that? Why did they do that? Because it doesn't violate anything about, the what you call them. We're having the discussion about the issues, the violence, the attitudes towards women. I'm not saying go out and, beat up trans people or anything like that. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything that's going to hurt them. Likewise, I don't want them hurting you. So see, that's the whole thing. I'm not sick. The one who's sick is you. And you don't like the conversation, take your ass on up out of here. It's not for you. This is for women who have some damn sense. Now let's talk about this article I read that it said lesbians. This man wrote an article where he said men say lesbians are all about them. This guy wrote what is supposed to be, wow, why didn't I print this out bigger type? This is kind of small. I don't know what the hell this says. Okay, well, this guy anyway, he's a professor at the University of somewhere in Cyprus. Isn't that Greece? He asked 15,009 heterosexual people whether they like the thought of their partner romping with a member of the same sex. He found that 50% of heterosexual men in long-term relationships would enjoy it if their partner had sex with a woman, compared to 30% of men in short-term flings, according to his research. In a paper published in the respected journal Personality and Individual Differences, this doctor found that men would be happy going out with a partner who enjoys the company of other women. See, that's what I mean. It's their fantasy. So they be trying to live it when they, decide that they're going to be, a trans person. They want to live. See this picture here of the two women. See what he's want to do. You know how they do Photoshop and put the face in there. He want to put his face in there. That's what he wants to do. So he's angry that you're denying him, then telling him that he's not lesbian and he can't be a lesbian. It's like you don't have the proper equipment to be a lesbian, my brother. Just accept it. So anyway, in essence, what this doctor concluded with his confused little self, um, my argument in the paper is this: a considerable proportion of men desire same-sex attractions in women, and this is one possible reason why many women have such attractions. So essentially, what he concluded. Let me just sum this up. What this fool concluded is that women are lesbian because men like to see lesbians. How can you take women's sexuality, don't have shit to do with you, and somehow you interject yourself into it and make it about you? Talk about a goddamn ego. I was like, oh my God, this guy is too much. And they actually published this. See, it's like silly men publishing other works of other silly men. I just was rolling. I'm telling you, I was on board. And I know people were looking at me like I was crazy. It's like, what in the world is she reading that's so funny? I'm like, man, these people are fucking ridiculous. Okay, now let's talk about what did I highlight here? Oh, let's talk about male violence. You know, this violence that they want to exhibit towards women. Because, you know, one hand they say, oh, you know, we're women. We're fighting for our rights. We're women. But there's binary. There's no such thing as gender. There's no. Oh. And then, you know, they want to get violent. You know, typical male response right to violence. So then I'm reading this thing, and this girl, she has the same name as a friend of mine, Megan Murphy. I have a friend named Megan that lives down in Texas. That's so funny. She says, in January, a woman was photographed holding a sign at the Vancouver Women's March that included the words, trans ideology is misogyny. And she says, you know, a few years ago, I might have questioned this thinking, well, that's a bit much, isn't it? But as trans activism has gained ground and, you know, she and other women have begun questioning and speaking out about the aims, ideology, and policies supported in the name of trans rights, it's become impossible to deny that what is being supported through trans activism is violence against women. Now, let me tell you about what's going on in San Francisco. See, I'm telling you, I grew up in San Francisco, and San Francisco has changed. It is not for the better. It's not for the better. In the San Francisco Public Library, which I went to religiously, like in my childhood, for a decade or more, every single Wednesday night, every after school, I went to the San Francisco Public Library downtown in Civic Center because it wasn't too far from our house. We would walk over there, me and my brothers, and we would check out new books and turn in the other ones, and then we would go back home to our home. You know, this was our routine for years. So that I grew up in that building. There was a librarian there named Jane Botham that I just adored. And this woman was always perfectly coiffed and, you know, just like so elegant and just I so admired her. Of course, I grew up to be nothing like her, but I still admired her. But she just turned me on to some really interesting books. And she had a reading program at the library every year that I participated in. I mean, she really, by my adoration of this woman, admiration of her, she was able to have a positive influence on me with the world of books. My mind went all over the world every summer when I was in those reading programs with her. You had to read a book a week. So anyway, I digress. But anyway, so this was the environment that I grew up in. It was a wonderful place. It's old stone and everything. I mean, just so culturally rich. This week, or you know, a couple of weeks ago, I found out that they have a display down there in the library where and I don't know who thought this was a good idea to put this in a public space where children and women and old people go. See, that's what I'm saying. There's some kind of shit really going on. It's a whole bunch of people in power that hate women, and they are going along with stuff like this. Okay, so there's a display down in the library, and it has, you know, signs that say like "I punch turfs," and it had like a bloody stain on it or something. And people did complain about that, and the library did take that down. But the other part of the exhibit, had axes and stuff that was obviously violent. As you're in a conversation talking about, I punch turfs. Um, oh, here it is. Yeah, they didn't remove the thing entirely. I was looking for. I took a. Oh, that's right. I sent the picture to myself and I didn't download it. Crap. Well, anyway, there's a company that sells buttons, right? You can buy these buttons, stomp turfs, I punch turf, stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, what part of this makes sense? You're sitting here selling buttons and t-shirts and hats and stuff that promote violence against women. So yet the first thing they want to do is call you transphobic. No, you're woman phobic. That's what you are. And these guys, they're actually buying this stuff, and it's a store. It's on Etsy. You know, I will post the link to all of this stuff since I had to end up doing my show this old-fashioned way. I will post links to all this stuff in the show description. But I'm telling you, it's something else. It's like, what else can you call it? If they're going out of their way to do things and make displays and wear clothes and, go to marches where women are, you're not invited. You're not a lesbian. You have no business there. They intentionally went there to start shit with the women and to hurt them. So you're seeing, and, the attitude when you consider that, 60% of women who are murdered by men that are supposed to love them, like boyfriends, husbands, other male relatives. And it's like the most dangerous thing for a woman to be around is a man. Because it's like they just are, something's wrong with them, just violent for no reason. They kill women, they kill children, and they kill each other. It's just a lot of violence. Doesn't seem to really be able to handle their emotions very well. And when they start feeling, rejected, or, somebody's laughing at them. This one guy was saying, well, I women, I'm afraid that the woman's going to laugh at me. And, women are afraid, laugh. I'm afraid you're going to kill me. And you worried about somebody laughing at you? See, I, this whole thing is, like I said, because, you guys, if you're going to be fighting this, you have to um, prepare yourself. Okay. So, yeah, cover whoever's doing that, calling out, block those, delete those, because that's don't be coming here with that shit. If somebody gonna be advertising on my channel, they need to fucking pay me. So don't do that. I decide what's on my channel like that. But go ahead and if you guys see that, delete their comment. If you see it, it's rolling so fast. I'm trying to stay concentrated, so I'm not looking at it too much because I lose my train of thought like I just did. But I don't know. This whole thing really bothers me a lot. And if you guys are going to be, I'm not telling nobody, you can't be lesbian, you can't be this and that. I'm just saying, just don't realize the environment that we're in right now. Okay. Prepare yourself. You need to be ready to rumble. You're going to have to defend yourself. There's no reason in this world why, guys was pushing women down and taking their signs and breaking them up and stuff. When they try to take your sign, you're supposed to snatch your sign back and proceed to whip their ass with it. That's what you should have done. Now, I think had there been more black women up in there, that's what would have happened. Because one thing we will do is scrap. You're not going to do something. We may go down too, but you going down too, motherfucker. You going down with me. But and you guys have got to stop being scared. I have some strategies for that, but I don't want to say it on the air because I don't want the ones in here spying for the the trans supporters to hear my plan. But I'll figure out how to get the word out at some point. But I definitely have a plan for how to deal with that shit. And you know, give them. They want to act stupid. Yeah, that's what the women should have done. It's like enough of them, right? It's enough of you. They want to act stupid. You all don't stop fucking running and being scared. When they want to, get stupid like that, jump them. Defend yourselves. Stop letting these men attack you like that. I saw this video where some white boy over in exactly, Alicia. I saw this video where I think it was Thailand, right? These three young ladies walking down the street, and the narrator said that they were prostitutes, but they were at like a street festival kind of thing. So there's no there, he made in a lot of assumptions, and he's talking about what the women were. He don't know what they were, but they were three young women walking down the street, and this white boy tourist comes up to one of the girls and grabs her boob. Honey, she fucked him up. Do you hear me? And two other women jumped in it with her, and they beat his ass. And I think they moved so fast. They were stomping him, kicking him, punching him, man. He got his ass straight kicked. And I teach his ass to do that. He was got up all bloody and shit. Other men were trying to intervene and stuff. And them three women's like, look, you want some? We'll give you some too. But see, that's what I mean. Don't try to do it one-on-one. But she went after him by herself. You know what I mean? The other two jumped in to help her because he was just doing too much. You don't be touching somebody like that. And that's the same thing here. I don't give a fuck if you don't disagree with these women's philosophy, just like we don't agree with yours. But you don't see women going along attacking trans people. Okay. That we don't do that because we respect other people's ideas. We don't like them, but we still respect them. You need to do the same, but they don't because why? They have that man attitude. I'm entitled to this. You're denying me what I want. Typical white boy attitude. They just take and take. They took this country. They killed all the Indians, or all the ones they could. They killed all the buffaloes and intentionally starved out the Indians. They poisoned their water. They did all kinds of evil, egregious shit to take over these people's land and country. And now they had the nerve to be talking about, well, you are illegal immigrant. Motherfucker, what are you? You was the number one. All y'all are illegal immigrants. And you had the nerve to be pointing the finger at somebody else? You get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? That is some shit. I be sitting up here looking like, how puppies do, like, what? What are you talking about? You took some shit that wasn't yours by force. And now you trying to claim that it's yours. No, it's not yours. And they have every right to be here just like you do. You on borrowed time. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my God. It's just, who are these people just like, this is some amazing stuff to me because it's like, we have a nation now of crazy people. It's like my dad used to make this joke when he, sort of like something would happen and a bunch of crazy people, people start acting crazy in a group. He would say the inmates are running the asylum. That's what's happening here in the United States. We got a nut in the White House, nuts in the Senate, nuts in Congress, nuts as mayors, more nuts running for office. And and it's like, and these nuts in this organization, this activism thing, it's like all these white men have lost their fucking minds. Have you noticed that? Oh my God, it's like everywhere you turn, they're crazy as hell. Just doing crazy shit, saying crazy shit. And I'm like, what's really something's going on here. I'm not sure what. I'm not into the world of science, so I don't really know, what did somebody put something in somebody's drink or something? They must have put it in some green bean casserole because that's some shit black folks don't eat. So only white people got this affliction because it's like, I saw some of that. I went to a friend's house. They had some of that shit. I was like, oh, hell no. She's like, don't you want some? I looked at those dried up, like, onions with all them chemicals in it. I'm like, no, I'm good. And don't you know collard greens or something? They're like, no, what's that? Oh, let me get back to my topic. So anyway, this lady, she made an interesting comment here. That's what I wanted to read. She talked about pornography and its influence on violence against women. And I thought, oh no, that's a really excellent way to connect some dots. Because these men like this, they like to watch stuff like where it depicts violence against women. Where women are getting choked, women getting hit, women get snuffed, like snuff films, gang raped, all this kind of stuff. They like that shit, and they sit there and they watch that shit on a video. So if you have that as a desire, because that's some stuff that I wouldn't want to see, that because that would be like, ew, like upsetting. But if you are a person who would like to imagine yourself committing these kinds of acts against women, and watching it on a video is the next best thing for you, well, you're going to take that anger and that desire to hurt that person with you everywhere you go. Okay. Yeah, it does. It does push it, but they go after the money. They don't care. They're going by what is the public interest. And right now, in the porn, in this country, this is a big deal. And there's a lot of sites, and these men, like even on the personal sites, you'll see men who are straight, or they say they straight, saying that they want to have, they want to meet a woman with quote something extra. That's the code word for a dick. And so, there's a lot of guys who want to secretly experiment with it, or, indulge their fantasy. That don't mean they want to be in a relationship with it, but that means that they, want to experience it at least one time. And then some of them might want to be in a relationship with, with a trans woman. But by that same token, if the man doesn't want to, you have no right to call him names and call him transphobic or anything like that. So this lady, anyway, she says, what is unique about the approach we've seen in the trans movement is that it doesn't attempt to disguise the incitements to violence against women with rhetoric around consent and empowerment like the porn industry does. The claim is not that this is not literal violence because women like it, or because they consent to it, or because it's just fantasy. Rather, the violence advocated by trans activists is said to be justified on account of opinions, associations, language, or the sharing of articles or links determined to be wrong. Did you hear that? Because you have a difference of opinion, because you read an article that they don't like, you have an opinion that they don't like, you use words that they don't like, you associate with people or situations, organization, whatever, that they don't like, they feel that they have the right to advocate violence against you. Please tell me where that is not a solid 150% male attitude. So it's like, on one hand, they say, I'm a better woman than you, and then they turn around and act just like a man. It's like they don't even understand. The video's lagging. I wouldn't be surprised. YouTube dogs me out every day. They just dog me. But I don't know. Just every time I look at the screen, I lose my train of thought. Um, then I found finally this article called Trans, and it's, you look at this ugly fuck it puts on the cover. I'm telling you. That's why that's good they didn't show his hands, because dude has some big old golem looking hands that's are kind of frightening. But anyway, it says trans women are women. Why do we keep having to say this? Because you're lying to yourselves. That's why you're trying to convince yourself of something. And that's why you keep saying, just like a hypnotist, they keep saying the same thing to you over and over and over. You are now there. When you hear this, you hear the tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. It's the same shit over and 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 over. And eventually the person, starts to listen to you, and then they go under. That's what you're attempting to do by saying this. Trans women, you're trying to hypnotize people into believing that and accepting it as reality. And it's I don't know about other people, but I will never do that. But people have tried to hypnotize me too, and that shit didn't work. So I'm just, some people, they say, just are not hypnotizable, and I'm one of them. So Burkett, who is Burkett? Eleanor Burkett. Oh, okay. This was back in 2015 that this article was written. So Burkett is a filmmaker, and she says that people who haven't lived their whole lives as a woman uh, shouldn't get to define what being a woman means. I could not agree more. She writes, they haven't traveled through the world as women and been shaped by all that this entails. They haven't suffered through business meetings with men talking to their breasts, or woken up after sex terrified they forgotten to take their birth control pills the day before. They haven't had to cope with the onset of their periods in the middle of a crowded subway, the humiliation of discovering that their male work partner checks were far larger than theirs, or the fear of being too weak to ward off rapists. And those are things that, women deal with every day. I mean, even as a young girl, the parents tell you, don't go on a date. Make sure you have some money, in case he has to, you have to find your way back home by yourself, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And This is the classic transphobia, cis person believing their gender identity allows them to define true gender identities. It's saying I have a uterus, and despite you and wait, did I skip a page? Despite you and all of your forms of hard-won legal ideas, ID saying you're female, I make the rules. As Burkett notes, though, she's upset by the fact that these rules have changed. Okay, but see, we do get to define what is a woman. You'll never be able to do that. You can, have an opinion, certainly, but you can't define. It's like some white person coming telling me that they can define me as what it means to be a black woman. I'd be like, kiss my black ass and get the fuck up out of here, out of my face. See, you ain't black. You haven't lived what I've lived. You haven't been not 1 second in my body. You have not experienced one time somebody following you around the store for no reason. Somebody calling you the N word. People wanting to touch your hair because it's so different from theirs. All kinds of shit that we have to deal with, thinking that you're stupid just because you're black, you're less intelligent than they are, when I could run circles around 90% of these motherfuckers. But they think they have these stereotypes in their head, and because your skin is different than theirs and your hair is different from theirs, and they think that they have the right to tell you who you are and who you can be. See, that's the same shit. You're white, I'm black. You don't get to tell me shit about blackness because you've never lived it. I can't tell you shit about being white other than what I've observed about white people, and a lot of it is not good, especially white males. So, but I still can't tell you what it's like to be a white person. Only you can define it because you're a white person. I'm not. And even amongst, women, it's like, well, I'm a really tall woman and, me, I'm a short woman. Okay. I can't tell you what it's like to be up there with the Jolly Green Giant. And you can't tell me what it's like to be down here with the Smurfs because you ain't lived that existence. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing. So you as a man, born a man, lived your life as a man, went through puberty as a man, dated women, girls in your past, jacked off to pictures of females in porn magazines, whatever you did, played sports, all the shit that you did as a male, you can't tell me nothing. You don't get to tell me what kind of woman I am or what I can be as a woman or what womanhood is. Your ass don't have a fucking clue. Get out of here. Get out of here. All the way out of here. Have every seat in the stadiums of life, every stadium around the world, because you wrong. You don't get to define that. Yes, it's frightening as fuck, but I mean, don't be scared. Don't be scared. Do not be scared. Come up with a plan. Okay. Come up with a plan, which I will be, working on, because this bullshit's got to stop. We cannot have this. This is not, just can't be happening. Oh, I got to take these off. In my next discussion, because, I'm not finished with this topic, there's a lot more to say. In my next discussion, I want to talk about the attack on children by the trans activists and the trans movement. I'm going to talk about the attack on children. We are going to talk about puberty blockers. And we're going to discuss what I feel is the true underlying agenda that most people haven't really thought about, I think, because I haven't seen it written anywhere. But you know how my mind thinks. I'm always, leap years ahead of everybody else. But I'm like, I figured this shit out. But I'm not going to reveal it until we get together next Wednesday, because next Tuesday we'll be doing advice letters. And then on next Wednesday, we'll finish this discussion talking about those issues that I just told you about. All I can say is, parents, if you have this shit being pushed on your kids, on your minor children in their schools, you need to gather around and get rid of every school administrator that promotes that shit. Fire them immediately. Get them up out of the school. Get them out of there, because they're ruining your kid. It's like kids are already, easily influenced. That's why, pedophiles and perverts get to them so easy with, fancy tales and all kind of stuff. Oh, can you help me find my puppy? That kind of stuff. Kids are innocent. What these people are doing is taking your child's innocence for whatever their agenda is, and I'll tell you what their agenda is next week. But they're using your kids, and it's all these experiences, all these drugs, these puberty blockers and stuff. See, that shit is not. It's you're fucking up your kids doing that to your children. You know, the parents thinking that they're helping them. You're confused. You're crazy. You don't. Kids don't get to make decisions. They're children. Your job is to fucking protect them, even sometimes from themselves. You know, because they're gonna be listening to other people and trying to just like white kids. You tell your kids don't smoke, right? And then they're gonna smoke a cigarette. And you tell them don't cut school. They're gonna cut school. That's what kids do. They do shit that they're not supposed to be doing. This trans shit is the same way. They're gonna see other people doing it, and they're gonna want to do it too. See, not every parent raises their children to be independent thinkers. So you got your child falling behind some knuckleheads they read about in the newspaper or somebody at school, and then, your child is all fucked up, for years taking drugs and stuff, body all messed up, hormones all messed up. They don't know what's going to happen with these kind of things. I have a lot of research on it. Doctors are very, very alarmed. And I'm like wondering why parents are doing this to their kids. Because I know that Gardasil shit came out. Remember that came out a couple of years ago? And they was like, oh, they're going to make this mandatory. I don't know what what they did, whose pockets they lined to try to get senators and everything to make something to promote, to block cervical cancer. Okay, what you doing in my daughter's cervix? Motherfucker, your ass is to handle the government, not to dictate what goes on with my daughter's body, my minor daughter's body. Are you guys seeing a pattern here? Okay, these are all directed at minor children, and they're giving your kids drugs and they're fucking them up for money. Okay, and there's other reasons too, but y'all better wake the fuck up. So many parents, they succumb to that fear, and my daughter might get cervical cancer. I'm gonna get a Gardasil. Okay, what did people do before Gardasil? If they got a cancer, then what did they do? They got it removed. They got it cut out. Even if they had to get a hysterectomy, it's easily manageable. That's not really a cancer that's, really has that high of a fatality rate. There's no reason. Plus the shot only, worked on certain viruses anyway. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't going to really be effective. Well, it might be population control, but see, then on the same token, they'd running around talking about white supremacy and how they want, they want the country to stay white. But you doing shit to make sure that the white kids are all fucked up because black parents don't have the money to put their kids on puberty blockers and all this shit. That's white people. So y'all fucking yourselves up. So it's gonna be all these white kids, all kinds of fucked up, not being able to have kids, got arms growing out their stomach and all kind of shit. And y'all, you would have done this to yourselves. White people are gonna eradicate their own asses because this is ridiculous. Just think about it. Black parents didn't have the money for Gardasil. They'd be like, oh, we'll just take our chances. This before Obamacare, remember? So they wasn't paying for that. That shit was expensive. They was like, you live. Same with this, puberty blockers. Black parents will slap the crap out of you and tell you, motherfucker, your ass ain't no man. To the little girl, and your ass ain't no woman. Michael. You know what I mean? It's just kind of interesting. Yeah, it's parents need to think more. And when your kids come home talking about that, and I feel like I could be this other place, the other person and stuff. You sit them down and say, where you get that shit idea from? Who told you that? Where you see that at? Where you read that at? Who told you that? Oh, I heard about it at school. That's what most of them gonna say. I heard about it at school. That's when you need to pick up the phone and cuss that teacher out. Don't you be telling my kid no bullshit like that. And you parents, I know everybody's working hard, and I know it's really hard. You got it's hard financial times, but you have to realize the targeted war on our children. Okay, this is on purpose. Kids are under attack, and you have got to be more either don't have kids, or if you're gonna have them, you better watch them like a fucking hawk. And I mean everything they listen to, everything they watch on TV, what the pages they go on the internet, what they hear at school. Stay woke, because I'm telling you, this is a very orchestrated plan, and I will go into the details about it next week. All right, so you guys think on that. And if you got some advice questions in the meantime, send those in. Use the link up wherever it is, up here, wherever it is, on the top of the page. It says "Get Advice." you know, click that button and it'll take you to the advice submission form. And, you can share that link to the get advice on your social medias and stuff. People don't have to actually come to the channel. They can just, go right there and submit their advice question. Um, and then we answer those on Tuesdays, and sometimes Saturday, Friday night, depending on how I feel, I'll do something else. But I'm trying to make a set schedule: advice on Tuesdays, topics on Wednesdays, and then the other days whatever comes to my mind. Okay. And you guys make sure you subscribe, click that bell symbol so you get a notification. That's because my moderators know. I mean, I really appreciate them because I just pop up, I just show up. They know I'm gonna be here Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but on the other days, it'd be like surprise, and they, either one or both of them will come through. But if you want to make sure that you participate in the live streams, please make sure you become a subscriber and that you click that bell symbol, and so you get the instant notifications when I go live. Otherwise, you will miss it because there's just no telling when I'm gonna pop up. All right, you guys. Thank you for coming and for listening to this discussion. I hope it puts some little stuff on your mind to get kind of reframe things and make things clear for you about what's really going on and how how you should be thinking about this kind of stuff. This is a lot of it is just my proper word propaganda. That's exactly what it is, and it's directed at getting people to accept this program as normal. So they're trying to normalize violence against women, normalize this deviant kind of, sexual behavior, and normalize what is up until a couple years ago was, mental illness. So you guys be very careful. Watch your kids, watch who's talking to your kids, watch what your kids are listening to about this, and anything that they do hear from in school or whatever else, be sure that you talk to them about it. Don't let them just go away and try to process it on their own. Their little minds are not ready. They don't have enough life experience to really understand what they're hearing or what it means for them. Okay. This is when you got to be like parenting, adulting and parenting. And even if you don't have the kids, if you're an auntie or something, grandmother or something, get in their ear. That's the only way you're going to save your children. You have to have the last word. Okay. Nobody else. You. All right. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com. And here on the bye bye.